Today we're talking about why INFJs underestimate just how stubborn they are. Because if you think about it, the INFJ isn't the typical stubborn type, right? You might think INFJs are all about harmony, INFJs are all about looking at things from the perspective of other people. Being stubborn is something that other people are, and the INFJ very often cannot even understand it. They cannot understand why people aren't open to seeing things from their perspective or from somebody else's perspective. But what most INFJs underestimate is that being stubborn isn't about being the king of a conversation. It's not about winning people over or having the last word. Being stubborn is about holding on to a belief. It's holding on to a viewpoint. And that viewpoint can be, for example, that you should always be the one who has understanding for others. It can be that you say, oh, okay, I understand other people's perspective, and you don't think about what your perspective is. There's so much to it. We're going to get into this because trust me, this is costing you time, this is costing you energy, and it doesn't really help you move forward in life. We're going to understand how to reverse that, how to still be ourselves, but understand how we can benefit from the knowledge we're going to get in today's video. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you haven't done this so far, to download the poster on the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. And if you want to take it to the next step, then get the brand new INFJ Epic Life audio guide. All the information you find in the links in the description. This topic is extremely important to me because I have been stubborn all my life. And I have been stubborn to such an extent that I never thought I was stubborn. And when I say all my life, I'm sure I'm not that stubborn anymore because I know what I had to change. But it really was because I was forced back into a corner. I had to change my perspective. And it was something that was very, very hard on my ego. But I see so many INFJs going through life and really struggling with this because there's this viewpoint that is just so certain in their mind, and you cannot overrule it just like that. Well, the reason for this is actually the way our cognitive functions are set up. And the way they're set up is we're introverts, and our introverted functions are NINTI, meaning we tend to go into the NITI loop. And very often that means we have an understanding of a certain situation, an interpretation of that situation, and then we're looking for clues, we're looking for arguments, we're looking for evidence to tell ourselves over and over again, yes, that's the right choice. And that's the right way to look at it. And you'll experience this all your life. You will have seen it with relationships that didn't work out. You will have seen it with friendships where you were sure a person was appreciating everything you were doing for them. It was also from a perspective of, I just need to prove my worth to my employer. Something like this. That's all it is. I just have to prove to them that I mean well. I have to prove to them that I'm the best person for this job, because in the end, they will lose, right? We already start thinking about how it would be for the other person. So we look at it from a rational standpoint. We think, okay, that has to work, because if they don't do certain steps or if they don't see it from a certain perspective, it will be a loss for them as well. And the most interesting part about this is that you don't feel like there is another choice. You don't feel like you have another way of looking at a situation. You don't understand how stubborn you can be. And with you, I don't mean you personally, I mean INFJs in general, me included. And the moment I recognized just how stubborn I was and how detrimental that was to my living situation, to my life, to my happiness, I then was willing to look at it from a different perspective. So really ask yourself, what are some of the situations where you have this? What are some situations where you feel like, okay, I know a certain thing for a fact, that's exactly how it's going to be, and that's exactly how things are going to play out? Well, if they would play out this way, great, but have they though? Have they really played out to your advantage in so many cases? And the answer is no. And this leads to a huge frustration for so many INFJs because it's true. It feels like it's true, right? There's this thought, there's this path, there's this truth that is so clear to you that there's no way you can let go of it. This is actually the basis of an NITI loop. Because what you're doing is you have a vision. You are not taking in any more information because you're particularly only looking at the situation in order to prove what you already think, right? So you're not really gathering more information. Because the thing is this, we can absorb so much. So if you get into a new situation and you have a particular viewpoint, which is, let me prove to myself that my theory is correct, you're going to absorb 85% of all the information available just like that. I mean, we're talking in a very short amount of time. After that, it will be breadcrumbs that you're looking after, things that would give you a little bit of hope. And all the things that are happening that contradict your viewpoint, you're going to ignore them. I know I've experienced this more than one time. And again, like I've talked to so many INFJs throughout the last years in boot camp, private clients of mine, people writing me emails. Like this is something that I hear so often. Okay, so this is what we know so far. What is the solution? Is it just that, okay, INFJs are stubborn and that's it? Of course not. Because this is the thing I dislike the most about the INFJ community or MBTI. The whole thing about INFJs have these negative qualities and that's just how their life is going to be. INFJs are all about being snowflakes. They're all about, not trusting themselves, not going after what they want. And the story goes on. Of course, it's packaged in a better way. But in the end, it really comes down to this. And at first sight, finding out that you're an INFJ might be something very exciting because you feel understood, you feel seen, and you feel like you belong. But if you go a little bit deeper into it, you can fall into this trap of, yes, that is the reason why I'm sad. That is the reason why I'm alone. That is the reason why I'm misunderstood, why I go through life like an outcast, why I go through life feeling disconnected, and that just explains it all, period, and not doing anything about it. But I'm here to tell you, you can do something about it. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that you have to deny who you are, that you have to tell yourself that, you have to play by other people's rules. Not at all. It really is about understanding yourself a little bit better. And the way you do that is, believe it or not, extroverted intuition. So our first function is introverted intuition, but it's not like we don't have access to all functions. Of course we do. It's like, okay, so, I can ignore it, but what is NE all about? What is extroverted intuition all about? It's about seeing things from different perspectives. It's about being able to connect with a lot of different people. And you might say, yes, INFJs connect with a lot of people, but look at an ENFP, look at an ENTP. The people that they have around themselves are really diverse. It's different than it is for the INFJ because the INFJ has a very particular way of looking at the world, of what they like, of who they are, and that's okay. Like, I'm not trying to turn us into another type. But it's important to understand that if we stay in our default state, it will probably lead us to this NITI loop, which can cause a reality break, which can cause us to continuously be beating ourselves up because life is not going the way we want. It's like you're hammering against the wall over and over again, and there's no coming through, right? We've all been there, and it doesn't have to be like this. So what is the solution? You have to go a little bit more into the extroverted world. You have to actually start expressing what you want. You have to start taking action, making things happen. Like, those are the things we do in bootcamp all the time, that we teach that first action has to happen before you feel better, that you have to express yourself, that you have to set boundaries, although you feel guilty, right? So there's an action part. There's an external thing that's happening before you actually feel like it. So we go outward, we go into the extroverted world. And of course, you will never turn into an ENFJ. It's not going to happen. Even I, who might seem like somebody who's so outspoken and who's like all about connecting with people, I'm still an introvert. I'm still an INFJ. Because all you see are those videos and my messages here and there but most of the time I'm still by myself. I still have a very small group of people around me in the real world. I still am very much about this is what I know, this is what I like, and this is where I want to go. So when I say we go a little bit more extroverted, I'm not saying you have to change who you are. All I'm saying is that we have to bring balance to all our being. So how does this play out in this case specifically? So if you start taking action, if you start expressing yourself more, if it is more about this is what I want and this is who I am, you automatically shift away from NI and you go into NE. Not completely, of course, but imagine you're like 100% NI and you ignore NE at all. Like this is something that I know I've experienced for sure. I know a lot of INFJs who've done this, and this is where being stubborn really takes place. It's like, I know this is true. I know we have this connection, or I know that's how I need to act. I know I need to be the bigger person here. This is the perspective that is right, and I'm going to hold on to it no matter what. That's NI. Because NI, yes, it's all about the future. It's all about, having a vision. It's all about maybe in combination with the other functions, understanding a lot of things also from different perspectives, but it's linear. It's really about, I have a vision and that's it. NE, on the other hand, is broad. It's like you don't really go that much into the future and very linearly and knowing exactly where you want to go and what is your truth, but being open, understanding that there are other perspectives, understanding that there are not only other perspectives, but that you actually embody them more and more. You're actually less judgmental. INFJs can be quite judgmental if you think about it, judgmental towards ourselves as well. So if you go more into the extroverted world, you automatically start rethinking certain conclusions that you've made. This certainty that you've had, you're letting go of that more and more. So you start thinking about, okay, what if I don't have to be the bigger person here? What if the person that I think is like such a great person isn't that great? What if I had it all wrong? What if I just look at it from a perspective that is actually more beneficial to me? Those are all things we can take on. What if you start thinking instead of, oh, I have to prove myself to this employer, although I've put so much work into this and my work hasn't been appreciated and I'm the problem? What if I look at it from a perspective of, I'm the master of my life. I'm the highest authority. If I don't like this employer, I'm leaving. There are enough other jobs in this world, but there's only one me. And I'm the head of it all. Because from my perspective, there is nobody above me. It doesn't exist. That person doesn't exist. And that's exactly how I want you to think about this. Because I'm not here to say, oh, I'm more important than that other person, or you're more important than that other person. What I'm saying is that in your life, you are the most important person. In my life, I am the most important person. And I say this, although I have so many people in my life who I love, who I respect, but in my life, I'm the highest authority. I'm not taking anything away from anybody. But here I have to be the master. And you have to be the master of yours. Right? And only then we can actually create real harmony, because you're not doing things out of a scarcity mindset. So if you really want to get to a place where you start looking at the world in a way that is beneficial to you, you have to first off be aware and allow yourself to believe that maybe you are too stubborn. That it's not just about being, as I said, the winner of a conversation or somebody who will win an argument. That's not what this is about. You can be stubborn for the most selfless things at first sight. You can be stubborn to a point of thinking, I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. Or you can be stubborn in a way of, nobody understands me, nobody values me. Those are also signs of stubbornness, because it's with one perspective that you're holding on to. And there are perspectives that are worth holding on to. But those perspectives should be things that are beneficial to your life. Those are perspectives like, yeah, I'm capable. Yeah, I love myself. yeah, I will find a way. These are thoughts worth sticking to, but not thoughts like, oh, it has to be that person, it has to be that job, it has to be that situation that works out. And those are things we can really manipulate if we allow ourselves to go into that extroverted world. And the more you start taking action, the more you start expressing yourself in a way of, this is what I like. Simple things like you go to the movies with your friends and you're always like, I don't care what movie we watch. Find out what movie you want to watch. If you had to make a choice, what would you choose? Practice these things. Have conversations with your friends where you set boundaries over and over again, even though it feels like it's a lot of work, just to practice, to bring your own preferences to the forefront. The more you do that, the easier it gets. And here's the exciting news. When you do this, and this is of course not just voicing what you want through FE, it's also about the taking action part, right? It's also about doing something that, will change your life, as in go apply for a new job, go and join a new program, go and share your thoughts on the internet, whatever it may be. Then your mind will shift from, let's say, 70% introverted and 70% NI and 30% extroverted, or 80-20, doesn't matter, just like some kind of perspective, into maybe 60% introverted and 40% extroverted. We're not going to turn into somebody who's an extrovert, but through pushing to those extroverted functions that we have control over, we automatically are also pulling away from this singular NI vision and allow ourselves to think at things from different perspectives. And that is the moment where you can decide what perspective would be most beneficial to me. And then practice turning into this. Practice living it and embracing it. And when you then see, oh, this fits, this makes sense, this makes me happy, then you stick with it. Then you actually get to be stubborn about it. You can change your entire taste, for example, in romantic partners through that practice, right? For the longest time, I had like this type, and this type was toxic for me. It was not good. It didn't bring me anything. And I really had to rearrange my thoughts. I had to say, no, Wenzes, what do you really want? Write it down in a list. What are all the qualities that you went for that you say you don't really care about, but subconsciously you are always attracted to? Are they really something that you need, or are they things that you can embody yourself? What do you actually want? And then through living out my life, setting an example of this is how I want to live my life, I was able to see, okay, in this life that I'm creating, that I'm the master of, this is a perspective that really makes sense for me. This is the kind of person that I could add to my life that would actually make it better. So really think about it, take your time, write these things down, and this might make a huge difference in your life. Remember, if you want some more input in what kind of areas you should take action in order to flip that switch, then download the poster on the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. And if you say, I'm ready for the next step, let's go, let's make this happen, then get the INFJ epic life audio guide. All the information you find in links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video, Why the INFJ Needs to Start Offending People.